You know, Stephen A., it's easy for Joe Flacco to now say publicly that he supports Anquan getting actually what's owed to him after Joe Flacco got all he could get out of the Ravens. And I'm going to continue to say the Ravens still overpaid Joe Flacco, and the Ravens are underappreciating Anquan Boldin. Stephen A., Anquan helped make Joe Flacco lots of that money. As you know, and you've heard the stats again and again, through the four-game playoff run, Anquan caught 22 balls for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, 104 yards in the Super Bowl. 19 of his 22 catches went for first downs. If there were such a thing, Stephen A., as a QBR for receivers, I'm always talking about QBR, if there was such a thing as an RR, receiver rating, Anquan Boldin would have had a 98 for all those 4 playoff games. So at least the Ravens shouldn't even blink, shouldn't even think twice about paying him what they owe him. But clearly they're getting strapped against their cap because they paid Flacco for what they think he'll do for them in the future. And I don't think he'll ever be able to live up to this contract.
Well, first of all, Flacco deserves his money. Being guaranteed $52 million. It's not like it's really $120 million. He'll never get those dollars. You know, who knows what he's scheduled to make in the last year of his deal. It's over $22-23 million. I don't think he's going to get that. But the bottom line is that he deserves a guaranteed $52 million. 5 years in the league, 5 playoff appearances, 3 FC championship games, a Super Bowl championship. His resume says he deserves that. Now let's move on to Boldin. Regardless of today's climate, and you've got a $123 million cap, I got to admit to you that I'm siding with Boldin on this one for this reason, Skip. His first 7 years in Arizona, he was a 1,000-yard receiver 5 of those years, 1,000-plus yard receiver. Obviously, he was playing alongside Larry Fitzgerald, opposite Larry Fitzgerald, actually. And because of that, Larry Fitzgerald got a lot of the love as well as he deserved it. But at the same time, Boldin was nothing to sneeze at. He was no joke. He has not been a 1,000-yard receiver in his 3 years in Baltimore, but that doesn't diminish his value. He's been extremely valuable to what the Baltimore Ravens like to do offensively and what Flacco needs from a wideout. So I'm going to give him a lot of love for that. And when you consider the fact that he's been in the league for 10 years, that he's constantly been underappreciated because Larry Fitzgerald was on a team with him in Arizona, and obviously in Baltimore it was about Ray Lewis and that defense, and then on offense it was about Ray Rice and Flacco. I think I'm of the mindset that it's one thing to sit there and negotiate with him from the standpoint like there's but an X amount of years and X amount of dollars we're willing to give you. It's another thing entirely to ask him for the years of service he put in, for the level of production he's displayed, along with the season that he's coming off of, which actually was his best season with the Ravens, had 921 receiving yards this year. I don't think this is the time to come to Anquan Boldin and ask him to take a pay cut. I don't think that's fair to him. So I'm of the mindset I'm going to side with him on this one, hoping that at the very least he's able to keep the $6 million that he was scheduled to earn this season, even if it does count about $7+ million against their cap.
Stephen A., do you remember the second half of the first playoff game at home against Indy? Do you remember the second half of the AFC Championship game at New England? Flacco would get into trouble, and he would just throw it up for grabs into Anquan's area code. And how many times did Anquan just go up and snatch it and pull it down and run with it some more? They were all passes that were 50-50, whether a Raven or a defender would intercept the ball. Well, I know, but it looked like Flacco, that was his security blanket, was Anquan Boldin. So if we take away 5 or 6 of those throw it up and hope passes, I don't know, maybe it's different. Maybe the whole outcome's different.
Well, listen, the bottom line is this. Anquan Boldin deserves credit, but it's not like Flacco deserves blame. Every quarterback in the NFL has receivers they throw to where they just put it up there and they need it. There's a few plays every game where they need you to just go get it. It happens with Tom Brady. It happens with Peyton Manning. It happens with Aaron Rodgers. It happens with Drew Brees. It happens with Eli Manning. The list goes on and on. There's no quarterback that's immune to such circumstances. So I'm not going to fault Flacco for it. I'm just going to give Boldin the credit where it's due and say he does not deserve a pay cut, and I don't blame him for fighting tooth and nail to hold on to the money that he was scheduled to receive this upcoming season.
Okay, you understand. It sounds like, without knowing the intricacies of the cap, it sounds like they're going to have to make a choice between Boldin and maybe Ed Reed, where they want to keep Donnell Ellerby because he's a young, emerging stud linebacker as they lose Ray Lewis. So you realize some hard decisions are about to be made because of the Flacco contract.
That's why it's called the No Fun League as well as the National Football League. It's no fun having to make these decisions. But last time I checked, Ozzie Newsome, the general manager extraordinaire, I might add, for the Baltimore Ravens, wasn't looking for the pink slip, nor was he looking to punch his ticket into retirement. He signed on for these responsibilities. He can handle it. He'll figure it out.